Welcome to the new Toronto.
Every suite has direct elevator access. The finishes are of the highest quality. This suite is currently listed for $2,100,000.
It's good living, if you can afford it.
What do you want, your crown? All right, let me put it on you.
Amy and Chris Poole are looking for a more modest place in Toronto. They're currently living in a small furnished rental with their 2-year-old daughter.
We want our stuff, we want to unpack, our belongings, we want our home, we want to plant our feet.
Amy and Chris have lost out on 4 offers and backed out of 3 others. They say competition at open houses is so intense that they've seen things get physical.
The listing agents backed into the corner by the fireplace, and someone sitting there being quite loud saying, I'm going to work with you, I'm going to make sure we get this property, whatever it takes, 200%, 120, 130% over asking, I'll do it, just to try to intimidate everyone else.
That was actually the last open house we went to.
Toronto prices are being driven by a perfect mix: record low interest rates, lack of inventory, and a stable Canadian economy. Home prices appreciated about 85% over the past decade. The big fear in Toronto, and even more so in high-flying Vancouver, is this: is real estate at risk of an American-style collapse?
The rate of price appreciation is much less than you see in the United States or in countries such as Ireland that had real busts. The Irish situation, for example, from trough to peak, 4 times as great a price appreciation as we see in Canada today.
In this account, Toronto is the tortoise that's caught the hare. And now real estate in Toronto is suddenly on par with San Francisco and New York. But David Madani with Capital Economics isn't so sure Canada can rely on slow and steady growth.
We essentially think it's a bubble. We think the market's been driven by psychology and is being fueled by cheap credit. So the market is borderline irrational.
He sees a lot of common factors between what happened in the U.S. in the 2000s and Canada today.
We see the sharp run-up in house prices relative to incomes. We see the run-up in household debt, which is now almost just as high as it was in the United States. We see the same run-up in the home ownership rate, just like what we saw in the United States. And then finally, of course, we're always also seeing the overbuilding and the new home construction.
Toronto is putting up the most high-rise buildings, that's anything from 12 to 39 floors, of any city in North America. 132 compared to 86 in New York, 17 in Chicago, and 5 in Boston.
Standing from our balcony there, we can see 14 cranes.
Chris has heard the warnings that Toronto is building too much too quickly, but he also knows the longer he waits to buy,
Maybe we are behind what London, what New York, what San Francisco is all about. Maybe this is sustainable. Maybe this is the way things are going to be for a while. It's hard to tell.
Most economists agree that real estate values will almost certainly be higher in 20 years. So for a young couple looking to invest for the long term, there's really no bad time to buy. That is, if there's something they can afford to buy. Jason Margolis, BBC News, Toronto.